Smile 2 is here, and with this movie, we continue a week later from the events of the first film, following the Smile curse go from host to host until it eventually latches on to this pop superstar known as Sky Riley. Sky is a recovering drug addict and is also dealing with the turmoils of fame that only gets made so much worse with this Smile curse ruining her life. And that's all. Pretty much say we're getting spoilers, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. I have to continue apologizing to the Smile franchise. I mentioned this when the first Smile movie came out, and I want to bring it up again just so you know where my headspace is with this series. Is, to me, when I first saw the trailer for the Smile movie, I thought, oh, that's your typical studio Blumhouse-esque kind of movie that's gonna have cliche horror sequences involving people who just smile very creepily. I doubt it was at all gonna be a cohesive or entertaining movie, and to my surprise, when I went to go see the first Smile movie, it blew all those expectations out of the water. I found it to actually be a very unsettling and well-crafted horror movie. They took what easily could have been a cliche straight-to-streaming type of horror movie and actually did something interesting with it. But even though the first movie had already proven itself to me, and I thought, well, that was great, looking at the trailers for the second movie was getting that same feeling again. Just, I don't know if I'm that excited for this, not really looking forward to it. I'll watch it because it's October and I want to see a good horror movie. Plus, not to mention, Smile 2 is like one of the only theatrically released horror movies this month. So I went in, again, kind of underestimating the series, not expecting much, and if I thought the first movie blew me away, this one shocked me. Smile 2 belongs in that category of sequels that surpasses the original, not exaggerating. There is so much to admire about this movie, starting off with, I want to give major props to Parker Finn, the director of this movie, because although I thought I knew the director was coming back from directing the first movie, there was times within watching this film that I was like, did they get a new director? Is this somebody more experienced that has more work under their belt? Because the leap he took from the direction he had in Smile 1 to Smile 2 is a pretty big one. Like, this is a very well-directed horror movie that perfectly captures the anxiety and stress of having this Smile curse attached to you. Not just that, but the way they handle the jump scares in this movie, because yes, there are a couple in here, and some actually got to me, making me jump. Jump scares are always the laziest way and are overused in cheap horror movies just to give you that sense of fear, but I always want to applaud and acknowledge when a jump scare is actually well crafted, because I think if you're a horror fan and you've watched at least 100 horror movies, which most of us probably have, you can see from a mile away when a movie is setting up a jump scare, where the figure, ghost, whatever it is about to pop up, whether it's on a mirror, when it's a person turns around. There are certain cues a movie gives away where you're like, okay, a jump scare's coming in 5, 4, 3, there it is. But a good director will manipulate the audience and play with that expectation of, I know you're expecting it here, but I'm gonna bring it out here. And that to me takes away the cheapness feeling of a jump scare. And so I thought that was really well done here. Another giant praise about this movie, Naomi Scott. It's a real shame horror movies rarely get any sort of Oscar or awards attention just because they're looked at horror movies. They're looked as roller coaster films. Something just for amusement, and we're not really gonna take it seriously. And the reason I'm saying that's such a shame is because I fully believe Naomi Scott delivered an Oscar-worthy performance in here. The things her character goes through and the battles she struggles with as the movie continues on, just really great work. Smile 2 isn't just about the uncomfortable feeling of having people smile at you or not knowing what's real and fake, but you are literally seeing this girl's life fall apart and nobody believing her because of her history of substance abuse or having all this pressure of being a star. The movie does such a great job of letting you know she's not crazy, but man, I totally get why nobody believes her, why they think she's crazy, because this Smile curse demon, whatever it is tearing your life apart from the ground up. And I guess that's the other thing that really surprised me about Smile 2. While there are moments in this movie that kind of repeat similar scenarios from the first movie, it was just the way it really took the story seriously. The movie runs about 2 hours long, and yes, I will say towards the end it starts to feel repetitive and it's overstayed its welcome just a bit, but throughout that runtime, it is mainly to get you to know the character, everything about her, the way she thinks, what she's trying to overcome, and all of that just makes you grow such an attachment to her that you really want to see her try and overcome this curse. I was also pleasantly surprised with the amount of gore in this movie. Now, of course, we just got done watching an ultra gory movie, Terrifier 3, and while this movie is not to that level, I think it still will surprise you, some of the gory effects, and as a horror fan, this is making me happy. I am hoping Terrifier 3, Smile 2, these kind of movies really bring back a renaissance of ultra-violent, gory movies. Because, yeah, there were some special effects and makeup work and just unsettling uses of sound and bodily fluids. Like that moment in the trailer that we've all seen of the friend who takes the weighted plate and smashes their face in. I was not expecting for how grotesque that was going to look in the movie. The trailers are at all not doing this film justice for the actual unsettling feel that happens throughout the film. But also something that I think is difficult to pull off in a horror movie that's this gory and anxiety filled is the humor. There was an increased amount of humor this time around than from the first film. Whether it's humor that's mixed in with the scares or lines of dialogue or jokes or just oddball scenarios, it was actually kind of a refreshing part of the movie. The only other director that I've seen recently be able to match that level of intensity and scares with some humor is Jordan Peele, and I think Parker Finn really is showing what he's capable of, and I think after Smile 2, he's a director I'm going to keep my eye out for whatever they're making. So yeah, I continue to be blown away by what is possible with this series because I just was not expecting that much from it. The only negatives I truly have about it is one, like I said, I do think it runs a little bit too long and a lot of the scares and thrills feel slightly repetitive from the first movie. I also think if you're someone who wasn't a fan of that first Smile movie, this film really isn't going to change your mind. Personally, I was also sad Kyle Gallner was not really a main character in here, but the sequence he does get in the opening of the film I thought was a really solid opening. And honestly, I think a lot of people are going to be most thrilled with the ending of this movie because what it sets up and what it teases for what could happen in Smile 3, I think I would really love to see that play out. So when it comes to Smile 2, I'm going to give action 3 stars. While there are a good amount of horror sequences, in between those there is a lot of slower moments letting you take in the atmosphere, and I think to some they will find that boring, but I kind of was enjoying the time we were taking with the characters. Commenting the movie, I'm also going to give it 3 stars. A really funny movie, a lot of good jokes throughout it, and one sequence involving this man in his underwear, you'll know it when you see it, had my theater dying. Drama in the movie, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I really liked, the allegory that was thrown in here about dealing with substance abuse, also with the pressures of fame and trying to keep a perfect image in the public eye. The smile curse attached to these kind of things worked really well for that message. Horror in the movie, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I think this one actually has some real jump scares that are well crafted and will actually get you to jump, mixed in with the gory body horror that happens throughout the movie, the kills in the last 5 minutes. It's just eye candy for horror fans. And suspense in the movie, I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I think because the smile curse really plays on the fact of you not knowing what's real, what's fake, what's actually going on, plus the movie actually taking the time to build the main character, I think there will be such a feeling of anxiety and suspense whenever something bad is going down in Sky Riley's life. Casual fans, I'm going to give it an A-. Cinephiles, I'm going to give it a B+, and critically, I'm going to give it a B+. I think Smile 2 is one of the better horror movies that is released this year and is definitely worth watching in theaters. Again, that's just my opinion on the movie. I'd love to hear from you guys. Did this movie surprise you the way it did me? Your thoughts and theories for the third movie and what they could do? Anything and everything, be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.